Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Wednesday evening. We're back with another massive show to bring you guys this evening. But before we do that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. On the show tonight, we're going to be talking about Sheikh Jassim's failed attempt to buy Manchester United with some clarity, let's call it, coming out in the last couple of hours. Now, we'll go into this in depth and I'll read out all of it for you. But in short, it's coming out via the SEC, which, if anybody doesn't know what the SEC, I can't get my words out today. So it's come out on the SEC filings website. The SEC is the US Securities and Exchange Commission. It's like the top financial. I'll see if I can get an absolute definition to read it out for you. The SEC is an independent agency of the United States federal government created in the aftermath of the Wall Street crash of 1929. The primary purpose of the SEC is to enforce the law against market manipulation. So it's very closely related to the Wall Street, obviously stocks and stuff. And with Manchester United being listed on the stock exchange, when the sale process ended, they had to give all of the information to the SEC. So we'll talk about that on this video. We'll also be talking about Manchester United apparently entering the race to sign Moise Kean as a short-term loan option in the January window. We'll be talking a bit about that. There's lots and lots of transfer news to get into, as always. There's just so much transfer news at the moment. But let's start off with this story about Sheikh Jassim, because I think that's the one that most people are interested in. It's the one that I'm most interested in anyway, so let's run with that. Right. I'll read out a bit that I've seen. Some of it's quote marks, some of it's not. So I'll kind of break it down to you really, really quickly. So this is a direct quote from the SEC filings website. As I said, for anybody thinking, what is the source? This is the US Securities and Exchange Commission. This isn't, a journalist on Twitter or a tabloid newspaper. This is the money department of the federal government of the United States. So maybe you think that's not true either, but that's obviously, we can talk about the legitimacy of these things in a minute. So it says, a bidder, in brackets, Sheikh Jassim, formally withdrew on October the 15th, 2023. It said that the Qatar bid consistently failed to provide customary financing commitment letters throughout, and there is a mention of pledged investment also not being guaranteed. It says several sources close to the sale had said repeatedly that the reality of Qatar's offer did not match with the PR that was being put out there. Then we got another quote here. It says representatives of Manchester United continued to inform bidder A, which was Sheikh Jassim, that the board of directors was not prepared to move forward with a transaction whereby the holders of a Class A shares, which is on the New York Stock Exchange, receive less per share than the holders of Class B shares, which was the Glazers, and that the board of directors will require sufficient evidence of the financing and customary financing commitment papers. It then goes on to say it also confirms that Ratcliffe changed to the current structure in July 2023, and it said that over 170 different potential suitors were identified for ownership of Manchester United. 26 of them signed NDAs, 19 of them requested to be entered into the process officially. 10 parties expressed more interest, and then 7 were picked for potential minority investment. Crazy. It's really interesting, all of this stuff. Like, I find this stuff interesting. I know people will sit there and say, I don't care, I want Sheikh Jassim, but it's interesting now that there is some truth coming out in all of this. Now, some people will say, this is Sir Jim just trying to spin the public, that Sheikh Jassim wasn't actually what we thought he was. It was all a lie. Like, people will say that, and that's fine. Obviously, that's your opinion, and maybe it's true. Like, obviously, I don't know the answer whether it's right or wrong or not. All I can do is give an opinion, present to you the information that we have that's available on the internet for any of you to go and find yourself. I bring you that information and we discuss it, and we share our opinions. Now, do I think that Sheikh Jassim's bid was too good to be true? Overall, let's just look at it as an overall picture. Maybe. I would say maybe. I think there was a lot of question marks. We were completely off with the fairies, I think, with this dream of the debt gone, new stadium, billions spent, Kylian Mbappe's joining. We're going to have, this dream team. We're going to win the league in the next year. And I think even at the time, everybody kind of fell into that trap of this could be our future. And, nobody really like pinpointed down on the details of what his bid was. And I think it is interesting, that the SEC, as I said, the financial area of the government in America, the state government, the federal government, sorry, like are coming out with this information. Like, it is interesting. Now, this isn't being put into the world for people like me to do videos about. This is legally had to be filed as part of Jim Ratcliffe buying this 25%. They have to inform the stock market what happened in the process. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my opinion is, if I'm being completely honest. This story just broke in the last kind of 10 or so minutes, or this information just became available in the last 10 or so minutes. Am I happy with what we've got now? No, I don't think so. Do I think it's better than the Glazers staying on their own? Yes. Do I think Sheikh Jassim was maybe promising more than what was actually realistic? Maybe. But would it still have been better than what we've got now? Yes. That's the way I look at this. I think that the Sheikh Jassim bid maybe did seem too good to be true, but I still do think what he was offering, even if some of the stuff he said didn't end up happening immediately, it still would have been better than where we are now, personally. But that's just my opinion. I mean, some people might be happy with Jim Ratcliffe coming in. Some people might say, give him some time, let's get behind him. I think the one thing that's kind of upset me, let's say, initially with Jim Ratcliffe, it's way too early to judge, he's letting Pellistri go. Like, from what I'm hearing, Ineos do have a say in what's going on at the moment, but all of the deals that are happening this window were pre-decided before January, before Jim Ratcliffe had won, technically. Sancho going, Donny van der Beek going, Hannibal going out on loan, like Alvaro Fernandez being sold. All of these things were kind of pre-agreed prior to January anyway. So it's not like Jim Ratcliffe's come in and said, get rid of Hannibal, get rid of get rid of all of these players. Like, it isn't him doing it, from what I'm understanding. So it's far too early for us to kind of judge him based on what he's doing on the football side, because he hasn't even got the approval to actually start officially operating yet. What I will say is this, and the one thing that I am disappointed is that we were told over the last couple of months by various different people who were telling us they were close to Jim Ratcliffe and that they had information and all the rest of it, that it was going to be 25% at first, and then within the next 3 to 5 years, there would be a plan to buy the whole club. You had people like, again, I'm not pointing the fingers at these people, but you had, I don't know, someone like Gary Neville saying, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's not stupid. I'm sure he's got it in place that he'll have the club within X amount of years. Loads of people were saying that, he's not stupid. Do you think Jim Ratcliffe's stupid? He's one of the richest people in the world. And then very quickly after the deal was announced on Christmas Eve, conveniently, when everybody's off with their family, the journalists aren't really working, everybody's off, off the internet trying to enjoy family time, it then comes out that there isn't a route to full ownership. And that in the future, if the Glazers want to sell more shares, they have to give him first refusal. But I mean, that's a massive if. They might say, you know what, we don't ever want to sell the rest of our shares. We needed a bit of money now to rebuild the stadium. We needed a bit of money now to hopefully silence the fans a bit. I mean, it's worked. When was the last time you saw a protest against the Glazers? 6 months ago? 7 months ago? Like, even in the ground now, I don't see Glazers out banners anymore, and that's not me criticising the fans who go to the ground for not protesting. I'm just stating a fact, They have silenced the fans. I know people on the internet, I'm never going to stop saying get rid of the Glazers, and I know you guys are the same. You're always going to want the Glazers to go, but the reality is, what they've done has worked. We're silent. We're absolutely silent now as a fan base, and we're just sat here saying, let's just hope. Let's just hope that things improve. Let's hope that Jim Ratcliffe does a good job. And the Glazers have just gone off again, completely, unscathed with, let's be, pardon my French, with a shitload of money in their pocket, about $1 billion, over $1 billion in their pocket. I don't know what's going on here in the chat. Somebody is spamming, what's he saying? Should United get Hansi Flick? Somebody is spamming that over and over again. I mean, we're not really talking about managers at the moment, mate, but I can talk about managers in a minute if you really, really want. We're trying to talk about the Glazers and about, the club as a whole, but yeah, I'm not really sure why somebody is spamming Hansi Flick over and over again. Obviously, they want Hansi Flick. Anyway, that was the bit on the truth about Qatar's failed takeover of Manchester United. It doesn't really change much for me. We are where we are. Like, there's no point me, getting worked up about it. We just have to pray and hope that Jim Ratcliffe does a better job than the Glazers. He might do, he might not. He might make a slight difference. He might make no difference. Yeah. Everybody who's just joined, please smash a like on the video and please subscribe to the channel. It really helps to bring more people into the show. I'm going to get a little poll set up now to see. People want to talk about the manager. And I'm going to ask you a question on the poll. And the question is simple. Do you think Erik ten Hag is the right man to take Manchester United forward? Get involved in the poll. The poll is up. Have your say. I'll give you my opinion now quickly. And everybody who's watching this back on repeat, get in the comment section right now. Let me know, is Erik ten Hag the right man to take Manchester United forward? Give me your reasons. Don't just say no, sack him. Tell me why. Let's talk about it quickly. So, in my opinion, I'm going to say this. And it's a double-ended answer. Is Erik ten Hag the right man to take this current squad of players forward? And this is going to shock some of you because you say I love Erik ten Hag, I always stand up for him. Is Erik ten Hag the right man to take this squad of players forward? I'm actually going to say no. I don't think he is, because I don't think this squad of players suit Erik ten Hag. But is Erik ten Hag the right man to take a new Manchester United forward with Jim Ratcliffe, Paul Mitchell, Jean-Claude Blanc, like all of these people we've been promised, with a whole new young squad who want to play possession-based, dominating football? I would say yes. I'd say we've got one of the top 5 managers in the world to play that style of football. But if the plan is to continue with the likes of Maguire, McTominay, I'm going to throw Rashford and Bruno into there. They're 2 of our best players, but they're 2 of our best players in a counter-attacking side, in a side that play balls over the top and they run onto it. They're not good players in the sense of what Jurgen Klopp or what Pep Guardiola want to do at Man City and Liverpool. That's my view on it. So I've kind of shied away from the question, but I'll summarise it really quickly. Is Erik ten Hag the right man to take Manchester United forward with this current squad of players? I don't think so. Is Erik ten Hag the right man to get rid of 50% plus of these players and completely rebuild from the bottom? I think he is. I genuinely do. And that's what I would personally do. I think if we side with these players again, we're just going to repeat the cycle. 2 or 3 years later, we'll be sat in exactly the same position, having exactly the same conversation. There'll be people in the chat saying, sack Hansi Flick, sack this person, sack that person. It will just be the same, and it will happen over and over and over again. Let's see what people are saying in the chat, though. Let's get some of your opinions. So if you are only just joining now, make sure to get in the comment section and let me know, is Erik ten Hag the right man to take Manchester United forward? Rajat says, with the right kind of players, I think he is. I agree with that. Meal, who wants Hansi Flick, says he isn't. We should not be losing to Forest with the squad we have now. I mean, I'll be honest with you, mate, right? I think you're looking at it in a bit of an ancient mindset. Nottingham Forest away. Nottingham Forest are a good side. There is never an easy game in the Premier League anymore. Ever. There isn't. I think the only way there's a quote-unquote easy game is if you play that style of play like a Man City or a Liverpool do, where you have 60, 70% of the possession. You're creating chance after chance after chance, and you don't give the opponent the chance to create opportunities. Man City and Liverpool do lose games, but usually it's like they'll have 20 shots, they don't score, and the opponent will get 1 counter-attack and score. We've beaten Man City and Liverpool multiple times playing that style of football. When we went and beat Man City or went and beat Liverpool under Ole, we weren't playing beautiful football. We'd park the bus, Rashford would hit them on the counter-attack and we'd score. But in reality, if you looked at the stats of those games, Man City probably should have won. Liverpool should have won. I know football is a strange old game, but sometimes it isn't fair, and a team could have 20 shots and not score, and we could have 1 shot and hit them on the counter-attack and score. So to be like, we shouldn't be losing to Nottingham Forest away, I get it, but when you're playing this style of football and you're not dominating teams, I think, you can lose to anybody. Comeback King says players are at fault. Simple. The players are at fault, but obviously Erik ten Hag is at fault for bringing in some of these players, Like, he definitely is as well. We can't just blame the players. We can't just blame the Glazers. Richie says no to Erik ten Hag. In 18 months, he has no identity. He bought garbage, no pattern of play. Ineos won't keep him because his contract gives him too much control. You know what, Richie? I agree with everything you've said there. Everything. I do. I don't think we do have a pattern of play. It's park the bus. Erik ten Hag tried to play his style of football in those first 2 games last season against Brighton and Brentford. We lost 4-0 and we lost, I think, 2-1 to Brighton, and we got completely dominated because these players can't string 10 passes together. We now do have a style of play, and it's park the bus. It's what we've done for the last 10 years. So what you actually mean there is that Erik ten Hag has tried to implement his own style of play, which is 60-70% possession, pinning the opponent in their half, and this set of players haven't been able to do it. So we've reverted back to what we know these players can do, which is counter-attacking football, park the bus football, right? And Erik ten Hag isn't the right manager to play that style of football. That's not what he's known for. So what you're saying is true, but you have to look at it in a bit more context. But what I do massively agree with what you've said, Richie, is that Ineos won't keep him because his contract gives him too much control. That is a very, very important thing to bring into this chat this evening. Now, everybody knows, right? Erik ten Hag is a manager. There's a big difference between a manager and a coach. People are probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about? But a manager has the say on transfers. He's got so much more authority and responsibility than a coach. Coaches are people like Graham Potter. A coach is someone like Mauricio Pochettino at Tottenham. Todd Bowley buys the players, gives them to Mauricio Pochettino, and he's expected to train them. That's all that he has to do. And I think that, as Richie says, part of Erik ten Hag signing for Manchester United or signing his contract was that he would be more than a coach. He'd be the manager. He would have the first say on the transfers. And as Richie's just said, like, they're not going to be happy with that. They're not. You're completely right there. Like, Ineos won't be happy with Erik ten Hag having the first refusal on players because, in all fairness, right, he hasn't done very well with the signings so far. Martinez was a brilliant signing. I mean, other than that, let's have a quick look. Let's do it together quickly. Let's do it really, really quickly together. Let's rate Erik ten Hag's signings. If you're watching this back on repeat, let me know in the comment section now. From Erik ten Hag's signings since he's been here, which ones would you say have been a success and which haven't been a success? So we'll go through them together. Rasmus Højlund, I think, will be a success, but I think for 73 million euros, I think that is a ridiculous amount of money, personally. I think we overpaid massively on Rasmus Højlund, and we've just got to pray that he turns into what we all hope he is. So Rasmus, I'm going to put him in the middle. I'm going to give him an orange, like 50-50. I don't think he's a bad signing. I don't think he's a good signing. Mason Mount, I think was a bad signing. Onana, a bad signing. Amrabat at the time I thought was a good signing, but has turned into a bad signing. So I'm going to put him in a bad one. Altay Bayindir, you can't really rate because he hasn't played. But I mean, if you want to be argumentative, why have you sold Matić Kovar, a good up and coming goalkeeper, to bring in another goalkeeper, Altay Bayindir, for more money and then to never pick him? Like, so if you look at it like that, it probably was a bad signing. Johnny Evans, I'll be honest with you, right? For no money, he's arguably been one of our best centre-backs this season. So is he good enough for United? No. But I feel a little bit harsh saying that he was a bad signing because he cost us no money. So I'm going to put him in the middle category. Sergio Reguilon, terrible signing. And that's all we did this window. Rasmus Højlund, 50-50. Mason Mount, bad signing. Onana, bad signing. Amrabat, bad signing. Altay Bayindir, bad signing when you think that we sold Matić Kovar and then spent more money on Bayindir than him. Johnny Evans, I'm putting in the middle category. Reguilon, bad signing. So out of our 7 signings this summer, right, 5 of them were bad signings, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Obviously, you guys can have your say as well. 5 of them were bad signings, and 2 of them were kind of 50-50. Those 2 were Johnny Evans and Rasmus Højlund. Let me know if you disagree with that. You go to the season before. I'll do this as quickly as possible because some of you might not care about this, but I think it's interesting and I think it's important to do. Anthony, bad signing. Casemiro, I think, is a good signing at the time. Maybe not so much now. Martinez was a good signing. Malacia for 10 million, a good signing, I think. And that's what we did. And Eriksson, at the time, I think for no money, you can't really argue. So yeah, I mean, maybe if you look at it like that, last summer, we signed some good players. Martinez, Malacia, Eriksen on a free. Casemiro at the time, not for that amount of money, but he is a good player. But let me know what you guys think. I think it's more this summer where it's really, really been an issue, you know. Nathan says Mason Mount hasn't really played, so he can't really be bad. What I more mean with Mason Mount is we don't need Mason Mount. Like, we don't need Mason Mount, do we? That's what I'm kind of saying here. Somebody says Erik ten Hag is a good manager, not getting some key players he wanted, like De Jong, Kim Min-jae, Sesko, to name a few. That's what's hindered him from building the team he truly wanted. These are players wanted by United. I would agree with you there, mate. I would. But arguably, Erik ten Hag chose to sign Mason Mount over Kim Min-jae. Okay? Us saying Erik ten Hag didn't get Kim Min-jae, it's the Glazers' fault. Erik ten Hag chose to spend 65 million euros on Mason Mount. He did. Well, maybe it wasn't his 100% decision, but as I just said to you guys before, Erik ten Hag has the refusal over transfers. Okay, so he must have wanted Mason Mount. He must have been told, Erik, this is your budget for the summer. This is how much you have to spend, right? Kim Min-jae cost Bayern Munich 50 million. We spent 15 million euros more on Mason Mount. So for people saying, oh, he didn't get Kim Min-jae, well, he chose to sign Mason Mount, who, let's be honest, we didn't need, and spent 15 million more than what it would have cost to get Kim Min-jae, which everybody knows we did need. So you have to look at it on both sides. You know, we can't just expect the Glazers to buy 500 million pounds worth of players every summer. Like, that's never going to happen. Neil says, who would you buy in the summer transfer window realistically? I would get Todibo, I think. I'd probably get 2 centre-backs. I would try and get Frimpong. I think he's a quality player. I would get another striker, definitely. I mean, the dream striker would be probably someone like Osimhen, but I don't think that will ever happen personally. Maybe you look at Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, a younger option, but then I also would quite like a slightly older option as well, maybe just to kind of help the younger players. It all depends, doesn't it? If we sell the amount of players that I want, we could want about 10 players this summer, I think. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Moise Kean quickly before I wrap up tonight's video. So this story's coming out in the last couple of minutes that apparently Manchester United have discussed directly with Juventus about signing Moise Kean as a short-term attacking option this month. So what I want you guys to do now is let me know in the live chat and in the comment section, would you sign Moise Kean from Juventus on loan? I'll be honest, like, I probably would. I know he failed at Everton, but let's be honest, Everton is like... Let's have a look at Moise Kean. Let's have a quick little look. He's still only 23 years of age. I mean, he's got 0 goals in Serie A this season in 12 games. I mean, that doesn't look very good, does it? Arguably, he has been coming off the bench a lot. He's only played about 400 minutes, which is the equivalent of about 4 whole games. And then last season, he played a lot more. And he got 6 goals in 28 games. I mean, it's not very good, is it, really? Like, if he's failing to score in the Serie A at Juventus, who are like one of the best sides in the Serie A, is he really going to come into Manchester United and get goals when we can barely score as it is? I mean, remember as well, Juventus are like doing very well in the Serie A as well. They're second from top. Only 2 points off Inter, who are top. I mean, if we're just covering his wages, then maybe you go and do it. But if there's going to be some stupid loan fee, which there always is with United, every other club seems to be able to agree on, you know, paying 50% of the wages and that's it. Whereas United, it's like they pay 100% of the wages and will give you, 5 million as well on top of it. I mean, it's stupid. So, in short, if we can get Erik ten Hag, if we could get Moise Kean, for a reasonable amount of money, just like pay his wages, I would probably do it. Fred says, Kieran, why having not got the players he wanted, he thinks he has a future at this club? Kieran, why having not got the players he wanted, does he think he has a future at this club? I'm not sure what you mean, mate. Rephrase it. I'm a little bit confused. Lumen says, Kieran, you always argue that Erik ten Hag did well last season. He did do well. He got third, he won a trophy, and he got to a final of the FA Cup. I mean, that's better than any of the other managers have done recently. He says, in that case, we should just stick with him. let's wait where we go from here. Oh, mate, 100%. I'm 100% in the Erik ten Hag in camp, definitely. All I'm saying is that if the plan is to keep McTominay, Maguire, Rashford, Bruno as like your first team players, then I don't think we'll have any success with Erik ten Hag personally over the next few years. I might be wrong, but like, yeah, I just don't think those types of players suit what Erik ten Hag's trying to do. We've seen him try to implement his style of play with those players, you know? We have seen glimmers of Erik ten Hag ball, but it's always just gone badly. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It feels like a good time to end it. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me this evening. Some really good conversation has been had. I will be back live tomorrow morning. As always, 11 a.m. is the new time. I've seen a couple of people in the comments section saying, where are you? You're not live. 11 a.m. UK time and 6 p.m. UK time is when the videos are. Yeah, so have a good night, everybody. Please do make sure to give a little like before you go. Give it a thumbs up. Doesn't cost you any money. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a good night, everybody. I'll speak to you tomorrow.